it's Georgia Rose. I'm actually in the studio. I haven't been in here live in 2 weeks, and I'm so excited to be here in the studio tonight. I feel like I'm home. Welcome to the Soul Space with Georgia Rose. I am your host every Monday night at 7 o'clock for psychic things and astrology and special guests. I'm really excited. June 15th, we're going to have Phoenix Green on, and he's going to talk all about the Schumann resonance, which is the heartbeat of the earth. So it'll be really interesting. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about June astrology. And for all of you out there watching, if you're so inclined and you could share the show on your feeds or wherever you are inclined to share the show, I would really, really appreciate that, because that's how we get more and more viewers into our beautiful community. And we are all here to help each other in the soul space. So we're going to talk about June astrology. And first thing I want to say is last month we had a lot of energy. I did a video while I was away the last week of May, and I talked about how Neptune and Saturn are now going into Aries, and they're there now. And we're going to talk about that because that's setting off a lot of the energy that we've been talking about for the last few months. Now that energy is really heightened and getting into a space. All right. So last month in May, we had Neptune go into Aries and Saturn change signs and also went into Aries. So Aries is an emerging energy. It's an energy that wants us to go into a new direction. Neptune is a very confusing energy sometimes when we're foggy. Sometimes we have Neptune to blame for that. But Neptune in Aries is a little more factual. I know you would never think of Neptune as being a planet that you would see factual, but Neptune, when it goes into Aries, although it can be very illusional and delusional, and Neptune is where our fantasies are, Neptune is the planet we used for escapism. In Aries, because Aries is a fire sign, so it wants to act, it wants to move. So when it does that, it gives us a little more clarity. You know, Neptune in Aries going into that fiery sign of our motivation. Aries is ruled by Mars, so it makes us want to really get up and go. So for the last several years, since 2011, Neptune has been in Pisces. And in Pisces, it was very dreamy, very ethereal. We saw a lot of illusions, a lot of delusions happen. We had delusions about things going on all over the globe. And now in Aries, we're going to see a lot of those illusions lift. And this is all part of a bigger theme that we're going to talk about tonight, which I kind of call Thank You, Goodbye, because we have 4 planets moving into new signs in June, and we just had Saturn and Neptune go into a new sign in May. So it's a lot of energy, 6 planets going into new places in the zodiac. Some for many, many years have not changed signs. So it's a whole new world that we're really forming out here. So Neptune goes into Aries, and now we have a little bit more clarity. The themes for Neptune going into Aries is going to be things to do with our heads. Aries is the ram. It goes in head first. It is ruled by Mars, like I said, the god of war, which is assertion. It's movement. It's also aggression. But Neptune is confusing and delusional, yet a little bit more clear in this energy. However, I think the way this is going to play out over the next couple of years with Neptune in Aries is a lot of things about our face and facial recognition. We have Pluto in Aquarius, which is a lot of technology. So don't be surprised if we start to see a lot of filters, a lot of apps that have to do with facial distortion, being someone you're not, being able to fake your identity. You're going to see a lot of things about AI coming in and faking identities. But, you know, maybe even things like lately I noticed Pamela Anderson and some Hollywood stars are starting to not wear makeup, and no makeup is a trend, because Neptune in Aries, about the face and head, can be about masks. Where do we wear masks? Where do people, you know, put a mask on so that people can hide their feelings, go into illusion? Escapism, you know, virtual parties, changing our identity. Also things like meditation will become very powerful because Neptune is otherworldly. It's ethereal. It is, you know, like I said, illusion and escapism. So you may even see very powerful type of meditations or traveling, astral traveling kind of come in, you know? So What you want to do is you really want to make sure that in this energy, using that Neptune and Aries kind of feel, you want to make sure that you are thinking about that. Where do you wear a mask in your life? Where do you wear a mask for self protection? Where do you wear a mask for so that you don't have to reveal your true self? Because Aries is an energy of the self. It's an energy of our relationship with ourself. So with Neptune going into Aries, and it will be there until 2039, this is going to be all about us showing our true face, emerging in a new place where we can be our own identity and we don't have to wear a mask. So that results now in the stripping away of the old, the falling away of the masks of the illusions, right? So that's why you really want to make sure that you're thinking about that, because with all the other planetary movements we have, that is going to come in really big time. I mean, huge. So make sure that you're thinking about that in the weeks to come. And also, the other thing you want to think about is the people around you. Who around you have you not seen their truth? But now, when you start to look at, wow, this person really has been fake with me, you're going to start seeing the truth of what that person really is hiding. What is the mask that they're wearing? And these are going to be some really big truths that come in. And they're going to be some things that will force a collapse of the old. And we're going to start to see things in a way that we've never seen them before, which is what Aries energy is all about. It's the rebirth, it's the new birth, it's the new energy, it's the emerging. So make sure that you're really contemplating on these things, taking time for yourself, and really able to think about, where am I truthful in my life? Where am I authentic and where am I not? So then Saturn went into Aries also last month. And Saturn into Aries is Saturn is the planet of our limitations. Saturn is the taskmaster. Saturn is the structure, what we build our life on. Where are the structures in our life that we have really relied upon and built things on? And what are the containers, the frameworks that we build our life on? That's what Saturn is very emblematic of. And when you think about Saturn going into Aries, Aries is that new emergence. It's where do I want to take up space? What's the new direction I want my life to be in so I can be authentic and take up space? And what do I want to give space to in my life? Saturn is our limitations. Saturn is the energy of boundaries, of framework. Neptune, who just went into Aries, is the planet of no boundaries. So in next spring, we're going to have Saturn and Aries meet up in the exact same spot in Aries, Saturn and Neptune. And that's going to be quite an energy where our limitations meet no boundaries, where we're shown we can do the impossible if we release and let go of certain limitations. And aren't limitations really put in place so we surpass them? It's like the limit we get on our first credit card. The store gives us $1,500 to spend. And we're young and it's our first credit card and we think money's free. And so we spend that $1,500 in 2 seconds. And then we get a notification saying we've reached our limit. But if we want more, we can call the resolution center. And boy, do we dial that number really fast. Because limitations are put in our way in order that we surpass them and break free from them and learn a new skill, learn what we're really made of, learn that we never really had a limitation in the first place. It was just put there to teach us. That's Saturn. And in Aries, it's going to be, once again, all about new emerging energy, new direction. Where do I want to take up space? And also very much about the head, the self, our own identity. What are the limitations that we've been putting on ourselves, that we have been taught, that we have heard, that we have seen, but were never really real? They were just Neptunian illusions. And now in Aries, we're going to start to see the truth, and they will fall away and they will collapse. But this is not only something to be really optimistic about and to think about as liberating and freeing, it's also terrifying and paralyzing to think that the structures that we've built our life on, the illusions that were our truth, but really weren't, the frameworks that we were told and shown to build upon, are now in the next several years going to completely dissolve and fall away. Who are we really? What is our face? What is our authenticity? What is our identity? And where will it emerge from? It'll emerge from within in the soul space. So, what a lot of this is about is not just the collapse of the old. And if you listen to a lot of light workers or gurus or anyone online, you're going to see they're all talking about the collapse of the old. We're going into a new paradigm shift, whether it's human design or the gene keys. 2027 is when there's a huge shift. This is the year where things collapse, and 26 is the year when we better have our plans together because everything's going to be shifting. But what does it all really mean? What it means is that all these years, all this maturity, all of the emotional maturity, the physical maturity, everything, whether you're 20 or you're 60, that you have progressively matured and your life cycle of development has gone through, has not been pristine. It's been affected and molded and shaped by the voices you've heard, the things you've watched, the music you've listened to, the people you idolized, the people who taught you right from wrong, the people who showed you your boundaries. All of those things were formed by everything that you took in, everything your senses could behold, even the food that you like. You were probably told you liked that food at some point in your life and told what you didn't like. Well, now, as all of these things fall away, as planets go into new signs, starting with Pluto in Aquarius in January, and now we have Neptune and Saturn in brand new signs. All of those things that we hear and see and taste and smell and are all around us, all those frameworks and paradigms and energies are collapsing and dissolving. And we will be able to rely on and hear the voice from within us with no distraction, no interference, no static. The true self will really emerge in this energy. And I say that because Neptune is escapism, but Neptune in Aries is simply, I escape from reality by emerging in a new direction and taking up space anew. But all of this is happening to have all of these planets change signs in a year. I don't think it's ever happened before that anyone has ever historically recorded. And your soul was made to experience this, right? Our souls are experiencing this. So there's a reason. And I believe the reason is the birth of the new human, the birth of the new human who is able to differentiate and discern truth from not truth, illusion from delusion. Because our inside soul spaces, our intuition, our connection with God, creator, whatever you call that energy, is going to now be heightened without static, without interference. Because our discernment, our intuition, our connection with the truth, with what's real, with love, is going to be so individually heightened within us all that we will be able to create ourselves and our life and the life we want without the constructs, without what we've been told, without what we've been shown. And what will emerge is complete and total individualism. You don't have to get married. You don't have to have a baby. You don't have to go to school till you're 18, 19, 22 years old. You don't have to eat the porridge. You don't have to smoke the cigarette. You don't have to use that detergent, whatever it is. Now, complete and total individualism comes in, and every human is able to create their life, their choices from their truth. And the reason I'm saying this is because not only those planets changing signs, but also Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's self-focus, it's self-agency, it's personal leadership. It is new direction, form, structure, responsibility, protection. This is what Saturn is in that sign, and Neptune as well, to a certain extent. And now this month of June, we have June 6th, Venus goes into Taurus. June 8th, Mercury goes into Cancer. June 9th, Jupiter changes signs and goes into Cancer. And June 17th, Mars changes signs and goes into Virgo. Then we have the summer solstice changing the season. And then a month later, Uranus goes into Gemini and changes signs. That is so much new energy that it's a roller coaster. It's get out the popcorn because in the external world, you're going to see a lot of things change and change very rapidly, because this is like someone set a gear in motion or flicked a domino that is going to make all the other dominoes go into a pattern that is completely different from anything we've ever seen before. It's synchronicity in its highest form if you use it correctly. So let's talk about the first thing, June 6th. Venus goes into Taurus. Now that's its home sign. Taurus is ruled by Venus. What is Venus? Venus, everyone calls her the planet of love, right? But Venus isn't just the planet of love. Venus is also our values. It's the way we form our values. It is the things that are really important to us from a valuable, resourceful kind of way. In Taurus, that is our resources, our inner resources. Taurus is the sign that we oftentimes run our complexes of self-protection because we're protecting our values. Think about it. Something that is important to you has to be meaningful. It has to have a value to you. Otherwise, it wouldn't be important. So Venus, our values, what's important to us, the things that we kind of lay our identity on, our roots, right, our cause. In Taurus, it's about being powerful and earthly. Taurus is an earth sign. It's stability. It's the sign of the bull. It is, what are our true values and what kind of resources do really come from within us that we don't rely on from external sources, but the resources that we are born with and that are intrinsically ours and uniquely ours from our soul space. For me, that's being here on the mic. That's a talent. It's something that's intrinsically within me, and I love to do it. And I hope that what I do is inspiring. I'm a good writer. Some people are wonderful artists or singers or just really great people at being compassionate. Those are your inner resources. Maybe you're really good at mathematics or science or just really creative. We all have those things. And Venus in Taurus is where we can appreciate the beauty of them, where we can appreciate the beauty of nature, especially, and where we can slow down and be methodical and hardworking, stable and frugal, because it's the correct use of our energy. Taurus is using our resources to our full potential, growing the garden and using every last seed. That's the resourcefulness of Taurus. So the planets that I just described before, with Saturn and Neptune going into Aries, and we're having all of this new energy, how fitting is it that Venus goes into Taurus to show us our personal resources and the correct use of our energy, not to limit us and protect ourselves and withdraw and refrain, but to dig within ourselves deeply to bring out the resources that make us rich and in our deep potential of the soul. And then we have Mercury going into Cancer. Mercury is our communication. It's our minds. In Cancer, it's heart-centered communication. It's compassion. It's really good listening. So with all this new energy coming in, what better type of communication to have than really being in touch with the heart and our own hearts to find what is our true face, what is our truth and our identity. Where do we want to really emerge? It has to come from our heart, from the things we love, from our values that are rooted in the stability of our own resources. So can you see how all of this energy is so synchronistic? It's like we get this big, beautiful bonus from the universe to really self-reflect and be in contemplation and expand our own inside out. And then we have Mars. Well, first we have then June 19th, Jupiter changes sign. And guess where Jupiter goes? You got it right. In Cancer. I think I just said that one, right? Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter in Cancer is expansion and communication, just like Mercury. But Jupiter in Cancer expands everything. So as I said, Mercury goes into Cancer on the 8th, June 9th, Jupiter in Cancer. So that's going to expand the energy of our hearts in Cancer, of Mercury, our communication in Cancer. The amount of compassion that we're going to feel in the month of June with Mercury and Jupiter in those signs is going to be very heady. But it can also be used for self-protection. Remember, I said that's really what Taurus is about too. So Cancer, the crab, likes to go in its shell. This isn't the month to do that. While it is the month for quiet introspection and reflection, on what we want our goals to be and where we're authentic and what our values truly are and what's meaningful to us, it's not the month to isolate because we want to be able to configure our authenticity to and with other people so that we can have that beautiful harmony that Mercury and Jupiter will bring us. And then on the 17th of June, Mars changes signs and goes into Virgo. Now, Virgo is a very hardworking energy. It's action, it is adjustment. Virgo is the place where, remember, I said the old is going to collapse? Well, Virgo is the place where those things are abducted from us. Things can be loss. We may feel grief, but I believe it'll be short lived because we have other planets moving around in the zodiac as well. And so the energy is going to keep changing. And Mercury, especially, doesn't stay in Cancer very long. It zips out of Cancer and into Leo before we know it. But Mars in Virgo gives us an opportunity to accept what's emerging, make the adjustment without being super critical and judgmental, because that's the downside of Virgo energy. It can be very judgy and very critical. And if we go into that energy, what's going to happen as the universe gives us signs and leads us and supports us in finding our new emerging energy and our new place in the world. If we go into that Virgo critical energy, judgmental energy, we won't do anything. We won't move into the new way. We won't allow the cog to fall into the gear shift into the wheel to move everything along. We'll be stuck in analysis paralysis. So all of these planets are aligned to give us an opportunity for that introspection we need, but not to be hard on ourselves, not to be critical about the past, but to heal it, to move forward. I'm writing a piece right now. I went back to writing after not writing for a year, and it was so weird the way my writing dissolved. And I used the word dissolve because I didn't even notice that I wasn't writing anymore. And so I went back to writing and I wrote a piece recently about collateral damage and the fact that I am collateral damage. There's been a lot of people in my life that have damaged me or harmed me or created wounds because they had a whim and they wanted to do something, and I was kind of either in the way or just collateral damage. And the idea of collateral damage really fits into the month of June because a lot of times we have a loss or we're part of a loss through no fault of our own. It becomes something that we witness, right? Something comes in and like a wrecking ball destroys something in our life, or we lose someone. And we're just the collateral damage. We had no control over it. We couldn't have stopped the bomb. And nobody really wants to take accountability for that. It's just like when somebody actually bombs a village during war, no one's looking back. They're running away. No country's going to take responsibility. Nobody wants to pay for the rebuild. It shouldn't have happened. Shrug your shoulders. It's a big so what, walk away. But there are people left to rebuild. And that's this energy. We had a lot of trauma in the last years, COVID and before that. And, every decade has a trauma of some kind. But now we're not sitting in it anymore. It's dissolving. And we're, instead of sitting in that collateral damage, trying to rebuild it with the shreds that we have, now we're giving an opportunity for a completely new material. We don't have to sit in the collateral damage anymore. We don't have to try and rebuild from shreds. We're going to be giving some really new, strong, stable energy to build in. And that's this energy. So whatever's happened before, whatever wounding, whatever traumas, whatever things happened in order for us to find our own competency, because that's what happens with collateral damage. If you think about it, anybody who's lived in a village that's been bombed and their collateral damage, while they oftentimes will think, well, what did we do to deserve this? And spend a couple of years wallowing in that. At the end of the day, they learn to rebuild and they learn how competent and strong they are. And that the rebuild is better than what was. That's this energy. And that's the only analogy I can use. Because if we waste time in the judgment and the criticism of the things that have happened, of the abductions of our lives and things, that Mars in Virgo is going to want us to do that. It's going to try and pull us back. But if we can move forward and release those things and let go of the innocent idea that someone's coming to rescue us or that we're going to get some kind of apology or accountability from somebody or something, it's not going to happen. Nobody ever apologizes for collateral damage. You were there, it happened, they wanted something, you had to become insignificant so they could walk over you or pretend you weren't there. You shouldn't exist. Collateral damage shouldn't exist. The bombed out city shouldn't exist. There's no apology coming. There's no accountability for collateral damage. You know, your father wanted to be with another woman, left you when you were a kid, you were collateral damage. You know, your mother was an alcoholic, she wanted to drink instead of taking care of you, you're collateral damage. Your husband had an affair and left, collateral damage. You know, whatever it is, we have a million different scenarios. But if you are holding on to the accountability, the apology, or even the acknowledgement of those things, you are in a space of collateral damage. You're still collateral damage, and you have to come out of that. And the way you do that is utilizing this energy, utilizing Neptune and Saturn in Aries to show you where your illusions are, break free of them, and emerge in new energy. Allow Saturn, which is going to show you the limitations of the container you're in so you can create a new one. Allow it to show you that. Allow it to be the taskmaster. Allow Saturn to show you your limitations so you can surpass it. Allow Neptune to break your illusion so that you can see clarity in Aries. Have a relationship with yourself instead of a relationship with the past. And then we're going to use Venus and Taurus to show us our resources, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and really go into those new spaces. And Mercury in Cancer is going to give us the compassion, the communication we need to simply state our needs and also hear ourselves and give ourselves permission to move forward. Jupiter in Cancer is going to amplify that energy. And Jupiter is going to be in Cancer for about a year or so. And while it's there, it's going to expand our compassion. And please, please expand the compassion for yourself. And also expand the compassion for your perpetrator, your person who harmed you, the one who couldn't give you what you needed, because they were only responding from their own wounds. Mom drank because she had a wound. Dad left because he had a wound. You know, whatever it might be. The brother who tormented you, he was wounded. And find the compassion for that and move on. That's this energy. And that's why the old is collapsing, because there's too much trauma in it, and there's been too much conditioning in it, and we've been told too much what to think, breathe, taste, smell, wear, sound like, go to. We've been told all those things, and most of them are not true. And most of them are not true for you. And in this energy, especially on the summer solstice, which is June 21st, we have a whole new season, and we have some really powerful energy that comes in to give us what we need in order to create our new and create what is new. So June 8th, when Mercury goes into Cancer, we also have Mercury right up against Jupiter. They're together in the sky. So that Cancer energy is really, really going to be heightened. And remember, Cancer is always going within. It's always that dark night of the soul, some say, but it doesn't have to be dark. It can be just going into our inner landscape and really feeling what is authentically there to bring it forward in our life. On June 9th, Mercury squares Saturn, which means our communication is going to be limited. Maybe that is because we need to have introspection and quiet on those days so that we can really get in touch with ourselves and what our needs are. And then, of course, right after, Jupiter moves into Cancer. And Mercury also squares Neptune when it squares Saturn, because Saturn and Neptune are so close in the sky. So when it does that, it's a conversation of tension. But that doesn't mean it's bad necessarily. Sometimes we have to know what the conflict is in order to overcome it and resolve it. If we don't know what's conflicting, we can't really help ourselves, right? So amongst all of this energy, the Mercury and Jupiter moving into Cancer, Mercury squaring Saturn and Neptune, showing us where the conflict is, but also that Cancer energy giving us the compassion to communicate with ourselves and really hear our inner voice. And of course, Virgo energy coming in and allowing us to, later in the month, see where the abduction occurred, see where the grief is, but able to release it so that we can find our own competency in that. What happens around all of that is we have a full moon in Sagittarius on June 11th. And when the full moon in Sagittarius happens June 11th, that brings in some optimism. It brings in a little bit of energy that can make us look at the bigger picture, make us feel like we can move forward, like things are getting more optimistic, more sunny, brighter. We'll have things to look forward to. And we also want to be more social. So, in energy with that full moon, I think it's going to be very powerful because of all of the things that are happening around that time and all those planets that are moving and all the energy that's emerging. Energy we've never been in before. We've never had all these combinations before. So when that full moon comes in, especially with Sagittarius, I think it's going to really talk to us about our beliefs and new belief systems and what our belief systems are that make sense to us. Not belief systems that we question, but belief systems that now we feel make sense and we actually can bring them forward into our life as something to frame our lives on. So that's going to be really interesting. Now, one of the things I will tell you, which is very interesting if you follow current events, is Donald Trump's birthday is June 14th. And I only know that because my dad's birthday is June 14th, and we have a family wedding this year on June 14th. And to have a full moon in Sagittarius, which I believe is very heavily aspected in his chart because he has some planets that are actually in Gemini. I think his moon might be Gemini or his rising might be Gemini. So this month for Donald Trump, whether you're a fan or not a fan, whatever, I don't really care. I don't really follow politics that much, but he will have deep change. This is an energy that's going to make things go up and down a lot. You're going to see a lot of shifts, and that's why I say it's a roller coaster and get your popcorn, because especially around that full moon time, you'll see, like typically speaking with the energy that's in the charts, without going into detail, it'll be an energy where super high highs and super low lows. And Donald Trump's chart is right in this energy. So don't be surprised if he has like some kind of an expansion and then a fall from grace, and then an expansion and a fall from grace. I also think you're going to see that in the financial markets. With Venus going into Taurus and Uranus next month coming out of Taurus after it's been there since like 2019, you're going to see a big shift in money, in finances, especially with Pluto and Aquarius. If anybody's doing Bitcoin, cyber money, you're going to see huge changes in that, ups and downs. The market's going to go up and down like it has been anyway. The other thing I was going to say is that this is the second of 4 periods this year that are around this full moon time that are like electroshocks. Literally, where Uranus is being configured in the sky, Uranus is sudden, shocking awakenings. And I did write it down. It's actually that full moon is happening opposite Donald Trump's sun. So yeah, his sun is in Gemini, of course. So June 14th. So expect that this is going to affect something in there. The full moon with Mars and Uranus squaring just as Jupiter is squaring Saturn and Neptune. So this is people being removed from the limelight. And you'll see people who are in the limelight this month especially, things are going to happen where they're out of the limelight. It's like something happens. It's in the olden days, this configuration they used to say is where people fall on their swords, like you're your own worst enemy, basically. And this is the second of 4 periods this year that are like that. This one is the most powerful. It's shocks to the system. And these patterns, these 4 patterns that are happening with this Uranus configuration in the sky and this is again around the full moon on the 11th, it is leading up to February of 2026 when Neptune and Saturn will be at 0 degrees of Aries. So just remember, this is an energy that's very powerful. Is an energy where you want to really ground and be in touch with yourself because things will happen and changes will occur. And you want to make sure that you are watching what's happening, making sure that you are seeing what is being shown you and taking it seriously. All right. So what I will say is this month, especially roller coaster, sit by the roller coaster and eat your popcorn. Do not get on the roller coaster. Do not listen to all the hype and spin. There's going to be a lot. With Saturn and Neptune both in Aries now, this is all about illusion and limitation. And illusion and limitation. Is it true? Is it not true? You want to use this for clarity, observation, be the observer, stay out of the hype and spin. There's going to be such waves of BS coming this month in a lot of different things. A lot of things will be overinflated with Jupiter changing signs and Jupiter also being conjunct Mercury. So a lot of overinflation that's driven by greed, by the desire for control and power. A lot of these kind of really base Aryan fiery elements will come through. So stay out of the fray. Just be grounded in your own energy. June is going to be a ride. You got to stay sensible because it's going to be very crazy energy. So as all of these planets change signs, it means the old ways are coming to an end. And by that, I mean systems of power and control over us. Now, systems of power and control don't mean the boogeyman in the closet. It could be that, if you believe in that. It could just be maybe you grew up in a certain religion and now all of a sudden it just does not resonate. Maybe you've had a certain career that you were pretty passionate about for a long time, and now you don't even want to do it. Maybe you were in a love relationship and this person was everything to you, and you woke up one morning and you just weren't feeling it. That is this energy. It's an energy of out with the old, in with the new, because we will be shown our own disempowerment in order to find the new empowerment. You're going to be shown what is a disempowerment to you so that you will be empowered by something new, emerging energy in Aries, Saturn, and Neptune. And we've got Chiron in Aries too, which means that it's happening for our healing. So that's the energy of June. A lot of the egresses with planets going into new signs will be with us for a while, especially Neptune in Aries. That's going to be till 2039. Saturn in Aries is going to be a couple of years. And then the short-term planets, when we have, Jupiter going into Cancer is going to be for about a year, 14 months. And Mars is going to fly through Leo, go into Virgo. It'll be in Virgo for a little while. Also in that energy that I was just talking about with this full moon, 20 degrees of Sagittarius being opposite Donald Trump's sun at 20 Gemini. Also during that full moon, Mars squares Uranus at 29 Taurus, and that's Trump's ascendant. Exactly. So a lot of extremes are going to happen around him. A lot of extremes. Don't be nervous. It's all for good and betterment. But also when Jupiter squares Neptune, that's June 16th. And I'll be doing little blurbs on my social media for all of these things. That is whatever has been fake glamour, like false glamorous, like enchantment, like seduction, like risky, like too good to be true. Around the 19th of the month, that's when that's going to fall apart. Like whatever is like, gossamer and fake silk and fake coin or whatever, the mask falls off. The masks fall off. That's really what it's like. So remember that. All right. So I guess I'll pull a few cards because I have some time left. Let me look at my comments if there are any. I'm getting people saying they had trouble finding the show. We did put it up now. It was just up a little late. Let me see if there's any live chat. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing? I don't see a lot of people on today, but I know that's also because, like a few people on, like maybe 50 people on. I know it was a little hard to find the show, and I also know that today it's weird how the energy works because a lot of times when planets are changing signs, you'll feel a lull before the shift. And driving here today, I realized that there was nobody on the roads, and I'm driving here in rush hour traffic pretty much, and there was like literally nobody on the roads. It usually takes me about 20 minutes to get to the studio, and I got here in 9 minutes. I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on? Very, very funny. But anyway, let me look at the comments I have online here. And I would love to answer your comments if you want to say anything. If you guys want to ask me anything about the current energy, you can do that. And also, if you want to give me any ideas for future shows, I'd love to hear about that too. Okay. This show's a mess, man. I'm out of practice. I haven't been in the studio for 2 weeks. Okay, here we go. I got Elaine and Aaron on. Aaron says he felt the energy today. I know. I have to tell you, I'm not prone to anxiety like in my body too much anymore. I'll feel it once in a while because, you read energy. But today I had such anxiety in my body. Like I haven't felt that in a really long time. My solar plexus was really feeling it. And I think that's just the energy shifts. And also we've had some really big solar storms, which when Phoenix Green comes on the 15th, on the 16th, I think he's going to be on. He's going to talk all about that, solar storms and the Schumann resonance and all that. So that'll be really, really interesting. So Aaron says he felt like energized today. Like people were telling me to breathe and slow down today because I was a million miles an hour. Yeah, that's that Gemini energy. That Gemini moon that we had a couple of days ago really affected me like that. Like, and I haven't been sleeping, which is really unusual for me because I sleep through everything. I mean, I sleep through death, divorce, hurricanes, tornadoes, you know. True story. So let me pull a couple of cards just for the energy. Let's see what we got. And hey, Elaine, I hope you're doing good, doing better. I'm going to call you for a reading, girl. So best advice I can give you, guidance in this energy with all these planets changing sign, is if I had to summarize it, the energy more towards the middle of the month, after like the 9th, 10th, it's going to be more compassionate. But that also means we're going to really be in our emotional. With all that watery Cancer energy around, it's going to really make us get a big case of the feels, especially around that full moon on the 11th. All right. But mostly this is interior work. This isn't work like we're all going to have these big earth-shattering things happen. Yes, they're going to happen, but it's not like we're going to be freaking out over the event. It's more like the event happens and then we go within and we start to really be contemplative and it brings us to a new place. That's the energy. It's like not anything that is it's not anything that in our heart of hearts we don't know is coming. I'll put it that way. And he's a Gemini. Yeah, Aaron says he's a Gemini. I know you are. So the first card I got was the Knight of Wands. All right, I'm going to put that on here. Knight of Wands, strangely enough, when I get the Knight of Wands card, a lot of times, Knight of Wands is the emergency card. 911, emergency, danger, danger. That's my Knight of Wands card. Then I have the Page of Pentacles. This, oh my God, what I am thinking right now, this is absolutely it because I get that feeling in the back of my skull. It is absolutely on the money. Got the Page of Pentacles. Now, before I said that the financial markets are going to be very, very volatile this month. Pentacles are money, abundance, material wealth. Pages are messages. So when I see here my 911 emergency card and the Page of Pentacles, you're definitely going to have some things going on with the financial markets. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad fall. It could just be something changes on the banking system. Maybe something is centralized or Bitcoin somehow changes or some legislation is passed. But you're going to see some high highs and low lows to do with finances in the Taurus financial markets that we've had since 2019. They're going to be changing. And then I have in reverse the 8 of Swords, which is my sneaky Pete, which is a thief in the night. So if I had to hazard a guess, I always try to be positive on the show. But if I had to hazard a guess, I think we're going to see some market changes. And I think they'll go up, but they're going to come down. And they're going to go up, they're going to come down. But I think it's going to make a lot of people sweat. And then I have the Justice card, and it's right side up. So this is evening the score, evening things up for people. And my intuition is telling me this is about the financial markets. So this is really about abundance. But also, don't forget, Cancer energy, where we have now Mercury going and Jupiter going. Cancer energy is also an energy of the abundance within. So this could also be very symbolic about the changes that are going to occur with our soul space, where the old collapses and we find the new. And then this is my final card. It's another page, which is a message, and it's the Page of Wands. Page of Wands is an action card, but it has new growth on his staff. So this means that we've got some new growth coming in, which really amplifies the message I'm saying. We have decay, collapse, in order for us to reconfigure ourselves, emerge into a new space, and then find our way in a brand new spot. And don't look for, this is my guidance, don't look for the advice or the way, what's going to be new, where you should emerge, what is my next chapter, what is my next thing. Don't look for that externally. Look for that in your quiet moments, in nature, in when you're falling asleep at night and you're with your own thoughts. These are the places to meet your soul space and bring yourself into the emerging energy that's going to bring you where you're supposed to be and what is truly authentic to you in this next chapter of all our lives. And we are absolutely birthing a new chapter in all of our lives. No doubt about it. 2025 is the year we have to do the Saturn, lay the groundwork, and be really real with ourselves. If we choose not to do that, I don't think we're going to be really happy for the rest of our lives. I think we're going to be in survival mode for the rest of our lives. And this is the year we have a chance to really come out of that survival mode. So Elaine's saying she's coming up to Long Island to see your daughter. Yes, let's get together. I would love that. And Erin, I know you're in Texas, so you can't come, but slow down. I told you, slow your roll. You always that Energizer Bunny energy. So guys, that is my show for tonight. I also have some videos up on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be doing some more videos, especially this month on there, because I got to tell you, this energy is going to warrant a lot of videos. It's going to be a rock and roll month. Get out the popcorn. I don't know where the hell else we're going to go, but we are definitely going to be rocking and rolling. So thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me on Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook, Zenkuda Official on Instagram, zenkuda.com. If you want a reading, you want to know how this June energy is going to affect your chart, call me. We'll sit down. All right. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you next Monday night at 7. Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zenkuda, and here is our beautiful new website, zenkuda.com. So I want to show you a little bit and give you a tour of this beautiful site that we have. And everything is all in one place now, and you can do everything Zenkuda right on our website. So when you log into the homepage, there's a little space here where you can go right to Zenkuda Astrology, online classes, or book a reading or coaching session with me. Not only do I offer astrology readings and coaching sessions, but I also do tarot work and all kinds of things to help you get in touch with your own soul space and living Zenkuda. There's also a place here where I describe my journey and what it was like for me to actually found the Zenkuda community and be able to bring you all of the healing techniques that we do and the philosophies of evolutionary astrology, spiritual wisdom, and yoga. And you can read about what my journey was like. And in addition to that, if you go on to book a reading, you can actually book a reading for any session that you really would like to have. For instance, a 1-hour astrology chart reading, a tarot card reading. I also do synastry chart readings for couples. And I can also do a long distance healing meditation and Reiki session. And you can even purchase our Circle of Light Oracle cards, which were created by myself in order to put healing and light into your day. If you go back up, there's also a space where we're going to be putting our online classes. Those will be very, very soon. If you'd like to be informed about those online classes, about astrology and spirituality, yoga, all sorts of things, you can join our wait list and just give us your email, and we'll be sure to let you know exactly when classes will be starting. And this button here brings you right to the Soul Space podcast. You can now watch the Soul Space live or past Soul Space podcasts right on our zencuda.com page. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube and enjoy every minute and never miss a show. So I hope you'll look at this beautiful website. I'm also writing blogs about my journey, and we're in the process of importing all the older blogs that I've written in the last 5 to 10 years right on our Rose blog page, which is my beautiful blog. And you can, anytime you want, just come in and read all about my own journey to finding Zencuda. If you want to work with me in a small or large group, or book me for reading, or doing a gallery style reading, or a public speaking event, or even a retreat, you can do that on our Work with Georgia page. And hopefully we can help you create your future with some coaching or some astrology workshops. So that is our beautiful zencuda.com site. I hope you'll be on there. We're also developing a space for community on there where you can learn more about astrology and spirituality and all kinds of things, and we can support each other on our beautiful journey to finding our own soul space and living Zencuda.